Lord be with you. So I mentioned this on Sunday, but I thought, it might be good to reiterate as you're reading chapters through 3 through 5 of the Gospel of John. But I'm going to go back to chapter 2 because what the gospel writer is doing is placing Jesus in these particular contexts in order to highlight, you know, who Jesus is and what he came to do. And I thought about this in terms, what the Bible Project does, where lays out the Jewish institutions and the Jewish festivals and all that. But then I thought, how often God has rules for us that are kind of childish, where when your kid is little, you say, now you don't cross the street unless mommy or daddy is holding your hand. Now, you don't want your 18-year-old saying, mommy, daddy, I need to cross the street. Come hold my hand. You don't want that. You want your child to be raised to the point where he or she can make those decisions instantaneously with a 2 or 3 thousand pound vehicle with 1,000-pound vehicles coming at them as well. And you want to make those decisions instantaneously. And so, thinking about chapter 2, Jesus is placed in the context of a wedding, and you've got a male and a female, and that's God's original plan, not only for Adam and Eve, but it's God's plan for us, his people. And so I'm thinking, you've got these Jewish rites of purification, and Jesus comes and goes, what are you worried about? Silly things like that. And why are you worried about, wine running out when God offers us so much more? And thinking about how you've got the master of the feast, and who's the real master of the feast, and who's the real bridegroom at the wedding, and who's the real bride at the wedding that Jesus brings. And then, of course, the temple, and what we turn the temple into versus what Jesus being the temple is, the presence of God, how we interact with God. Chapter 3, we've got Rabbi Nicodemus, who's not called a rabbi, but he is called a teacher. Are you a teacher of Israel? And to highlight again, what is the apostle, the gospel writer, trying to teach us about the teaching of Jesus in comparison to our kind of childish teaching, where we're so rules focused. It's like everything I ever learned, I learned in kindergarten, or everything that's important about Christianity was taught in Sunday school. And Jesus is going, seriously, are you not going to go any deeper than that? And that's when we come across the Samaritan woman. Oh, I love this woman. Try to read her in a different kind of couple contexts. Is she beaten up? Uh, has she been misused? Has she been mistreated? Is she a weak, fragile woman? Is she a strong woman? A woman who can stand up for herself. Is she meek and mild, or is she snide and sarcastic? But whatever she is, she's thinking theology. And think about how deep her theology is. Love that about some of the women. Martha, same thing in chapter 11. Then you kind of get this invalid who, he's not just invalid physically, but he's an invalid spiritually as well. It's like, hey, do you want healing? Well, oh no, I can't, I need someone to help me. It's like, well, here you go. Anyway, just some thoughts, put it into the context and what the gospel writer is trying to, draw out, and, got this contrast between, again, I'm not sure if childish is the way, but, kind of childish rules versus, living, breathing aliveness that Jesus brings, right? All right. God bless.